Hello, everyone. I am just waiting for everyone's computers to click in. I pressed the admit all button at once. So for 70 people to join at once, Zoom is going to take a second. But how exciting. We're here with 83 people, which is absolutely incredible. We have a couple people still connecting to audio and a couple people still joining, but thank you so much for everybody for being here tonight. It's absolutely fantastic. So still just going to give it a minute because there's an absolute flood coming into the waiting room right now, but good stuff.
Hey.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm just going to wait for it to slow down for a second because this is overwhelming. I'm just going to keep pressing the admit all button, but thank goodness for virtual technology. It'd be a little dangerous if we all were joining in person together. And I'm just so glad that we can have so many people here tonight to show their support for Emily, who is just absolutely fantastic in my opinion. It looks like it slowed down a bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and dive in while I have a chance. There are 105 people on this call tonight, which is just absolutely outstanding. And it's still going up, but while I have the time, I'm gonna go ahead and get started before someone else tries to join. But they'll join, but I'll just kick it off. So hello, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for being here tonight to kick off Emily Koski's campaign for Minneapolis City Council in Ward 11. Tonight will be a great chance to hear from a couple people that are going to speak on Emily's behalf, as well as hear from Emily herself, who is just fantastic. It's going to be a great opportunity to learn about Emily and to learn how to get involved in the campaign so that we can make sure we get Emily elected as our next city council member for Ward 11. My name is Melissa Hill, and I am Emily's campaign manager. And to kick us off tonight, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lisa Roberts really quick, a lifelong friend of Emily's, who's going to share a little bit about Emily with you, about her character and why she is a fantastic leader and a fantastic choice for Ward 11.
Hi, all. As Melissa said, my name is Lisa Roberts. I see a lot of familiar faces on here, which is just, I'm getting a little choked up right now, to be honest. So I'm here to tell you about Emily, my friend, and I'm so sorry that I'm getting choked up right now. I'll get through this. Okay, so like Melissa said, we've been friends for nearly 30 years. We met during high school lunch hour, and I'm really excited to tell you about Emily, this person who's been a valuable constant in my life, but also a woman I really appreciate and admire as a leader, a community contributor, a working professional, a mother, and a wife. A phrase you're no doubt familiar with is actions speak louder than words. But moreover, in the case of Emily, words inspire action, which is something especially needed in this city right now. Her deeds truly show what kind of person she is. Emily is not only uniquely equipped to be a Minneapolis City Council person, she's absolutely needed in this pivotal time. So who is Emily Koski? She's pragmatic. As Emily lays out her vision and plans, she'll be reasonable about what can be achieved and how to achieve it. She looks at issues and opportunities from all sides of the situation, and she puts together a solution referencing a roundtable approach. She explores all layers when looking at a problem. She'll listen to her constituents and stakeholders and apply her real-life logic before establishing a direction or point of view. She even took this approach when she was deciding whether or not to put together this campaign. And she's done that with some other notable endeavors in her life, from leaving a comfortable corporate job to starting a business from scratch, and just to challenging herself to engage in other personal pursuits. We need her on the council because of her pragmatism and because her approach to getting things done is accessible, strategic, and inclusive. So another thing about Emily is she's extremely driven. I mean, I think you kind of have to be if you're going to be, running for a campaign like this. When Emily sets a goal for herself, she puts her head down and she works for it. She's tireless. She never sees quitting as an option. Her career, she started a small business and she's run marathons and triathlons are cases in point of this. What is special about Emily is that her drive also extends to motivating others to reach their goals. I know of 2 individuals, just thinking of them, for example, that she has guided and mentored as they've started their own businesses. She's a constant believer of what can be accomplished, and that's a breath of fresh air. Part cheerleader, part sounding board, Emily is just as excited and invested in other people's ventures and kind of what they're exploring as her own. And we need that passion and engagement in all of our city's leaders. Emily is also a connector and a communicator. And for those of you who know her personally, you know this is one of her greatest strengths. She truly gets to know people, their story, and how she can connect them. It might be professionally or personally. It's one of her passions, and I think it comes second nature to her. And that passion is critically needed right now, especially considering our city's climate and challenges, especially over the last summer and year. She's a natural born community leader and organizer and does not operate in a vacuum. She instinctively assumes a leadership role within community settings by way of organizing neighborhood events, school fundraising events, and just day-to-day social engagements. She's active and enterprising, and she's genuinely interested in people's needs and perspectives. As a resident of Minneapolis for 20 years now, I think there's a true need to bolster our city's leadership with individuals who are present and listening. Not being present is just plain not in Emily's makeup. Her passion and innate ability to not only listen, but hear what is being said will guide her decisions and be key in representing Ward 11 and the city as a whole. As a final sign-off, I'm going to get a little more personal. As Emily became a mother, I've been amazed at her natural instincts in intuition in raising her family, her 2 kids, but also recognize her unique ability in sensing a need with individuals. They could be friends, it could be coworkers, and when she sees that something is needed, she responds to it, mostly with her time, but also she's very thoughtful. Her generosity and feeling in times of need is truly incredible. I could provide a page worth of examples of this, but hopefully I'll save that for another speech. She rolls up her sleeves in any situation and says, what can I do to help? From providing transportation for a friend who had recently had a stroke, to assisting another friend recovering from cancer with day-to-day duties, and to just dropping everything to come across town to help a sleep-deprived new mom because she could sense that that's what was really needed at that point in time. Leadership, getting things done, not only listening, but hearing, doing what's right and reasonable, and having a natural intuition. We need a little bit more of that right now. Emily brings that to the table in a variety of ways. Her compassion, her drive, her connecting, her pragmatism, and her community mindset make her a valuable asset to the community and a more valuable building block for this city. I wholeheartedly support my friend Emily Koski for Ward 11 of the Minneapolis City Council, and I hope you do too. Thanks for your time this evening.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for those amazing words on Emily's behalf. Absolutely touching and just a great example of the impact that Emily has had on people's life. Up next, we have Tom Hoke, another close relationship with Emily. Tom himself is actually a former mayoral candidate in Minneapolis, and he also has a few things to say in support of Emily tonight.
Great. Well, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Where I am, I'm out of town, and where I am, my internet connection is a little unstable. So I've given my remarks to Emily so that if I go away, the theme can continue. But thank you all for being here. And as Melissa said, my name's Tom Hoke, and I am so proud to speak on Emily's behalf. You know, like Emily, I'm a lifelong Minneapolis resident. And like her, I love this city and the people who live here. And like Emily, I want our city to be safe for everyone, to ensure access to quality, affordable housing, to be a city that supports a robust business environment that keeps our city downtown and our neighborhoods vital. And I want local elected officials who listen to us. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with my, there. And who listen to us. Imagine that, leadership that listens before it acts. We can have elected leaders who proactively work with our neighborhood organizations so that they are part of developing solutions to the many complicated issues we face. And there are many, and they are complicated, but we need everyone's input. I know Emily is the right person for the job of representing the 11th Ward on the Minneapolis City Council. She knows we can be better. Emily knows that a great city is only as strong as the people who live here and are committed, and she's committed to ensuring that all of them are heard and treated fairly. She's grounded in this community and can effectively articulate the aspirations of all those who live here, including our most vulnerable, our children. Emily has demonstrated throughout her adult life that she can work with peers, parents, neighborhoods, schools, and businesses to get the job done. I know you can count on Emily to listen first and then act, and only after she's heard you will she act. Our city is better for Emily being here, and I'm so pleased that she is running. Thank you, Emily. I know you're going to be an outstanding city council member.
Thank you so very much, Tom. Those were also, again, fantastic words on Emily's behalf. Another exciting update. We're up to 140 people on this Zoom, above that actually. And that's just an outstanding show of support of how much community in a very little amount of time we've already built. And so, of course, not last but not least, certainly not least, I'm going to turn it over to Emily Koski, our candidate for Minneapolis City Council in Ward 11.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Koski, and I'm running to be your next Minneapolis City Council member in Ward 11. It's so fun to be with all of you here tonight. I see so many familiar faces and new faces. It's honestly overwhelming. And Lisa, I'm going to get a little emotional myself probably. So we started 2021 with so much hope after all the hardships of last year. And just a week ago, we were reminded that democracy is something that we cannot take for granted. So tonight, I appreciate more than words can say that during this historic week and day that you are taking time to be here tonight. I wish we could be together in person, but I'm also equally grateful for this virtual technology. I don't know about you, but I don't know what I would have done without it for the last 9-10 months so I wouldn't have this, be able to connect with all of you this way. I don't know, has anybody else tried to play charades or categories virtually with their families? First of all, I want to thank Tom and Lisa for saying a few words on my behalf. I'm so grateful for your friendship and for your support. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about myself. I'll tell you why I'm running and about my vision for our ward and our city. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Northeast Minneapolis. My younger brother Al and I were raised by my mom and dad. We lost our mom, Barb Hofstede, to breast cancer when I was 8 years old. My dad remarried Emma Hofstede a few years later, my mom, who I've been close to ever since. My husband Mike and I bought our family home in the Page neighborhood just over 4 years ago. We're both runners, though these days you might see me walking a little more than you see me running, but it was the proximity to the lakes and to the trails that really drew us in. We have 2 children. Croy is a 5th grader at Field, and Iris, she's a 2nd grader at Hale Elementary. We've had so much fun getting to know our neighbors, hosting the Halloween block parties, and coaching Pro Park basketball and hockey. I'm currently on the Hale Site Council, where I appreciate being able to support our school community as well. I've also spent time serving the community in other leadership roles. I'm currently a member of the Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity Leadership Council. I've served as a board member of 261 Fearless, where I help support women's health and wellness. I'm a member of the Minneapolis Public School Parent Legislative Committee, and I was a board member of the Waite Park Community Council, along with the Waite Park School Site Council, where I was able to partner with entities across the city to find ways to strengthen our community. In my professional life, I spent 13 years building and running a small business, in addition to having worked at Target Corporation, and I'm currently at Antenna. Here, I get to connect marketing experts with organizations, small and large, to help them grow their businesses. My dad, Al Hofstede, was a city council member in the 3rd Ward, a chairperson of the Met Council, and a 2-term mayor of Minneapolis. My dad worked hard because he cared deeply about Minneapolis and its people. My father viewed his time in office not as a job, but a commitment you make. A commitment to make Minneapolis a better place for its people. A commitment to listen, to learn, and to lead with heart. And I'm running to be your city councilor of the 11th Ward to make that same commitment to my community. My dad passed away 4 years ago, and he's not able to be here with us tonight. But I know that he'd be proud that I was committing myself to our ward, just like he did. I love this city and its people, and it's why I've been a lifelong resident. And today, our city is at a crossroads. Our current leadership is steering us in a direction I believe is detrimental to the future of our city. And because I'm committed to living in our city, being engaged in our community, and sending my kids to our public schools, I can't sit back one more day and not be a bigger part of the solution. Every one of us wants to be seen and heard. We want a sense of belonging. That feeling has been lost. Leaders need to be active members of the community and should bring all the voices of their community to the table. I will commit to building partnerships with our community so that we can work together to achieve our goals. I am here to build trust and listen to each and every member of our community. As your city council member, my priorities will be making communities safe, fighting for justice and equity, supporting businesses, creating affordable housing, sustaining our environment, and increasing accessibility. And of course, making sure our potholes are filled and our streetlights are always on. One of my top priorities is making communities safe. And last week, when I stepped out my front door at 6:30 a.m. for a walk, I noticed an alert on my phone reporting that a half-mile away, a man had been shot in the chest. I opened the app and saw that the area they were securing was in the direction that I always walk. I know I'm not alone in this experience. I know many of us, especially our Black, Indigenous, people of color, BIPOC community, have experienced this, and as we know, much, much worse in this year. Every person in our city, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, orientation, or economic status, deserves to feel safe in their community. Public safety is an important pillar of our community, but when all members of the community do not feel safe, it's not working. Every person needs to know that when we do call for support, that they are met with respect and with care. In order for this to happen, we need serious reform of our police department. A friend of mine has a saying, and it's that there are multiple truths. And when it comes to safety, we can want reform and accountability for our police, and we can want them to be there for us and protect us when needed. We can rebuild trust with our police, and we can create new ways to bring safety to our communities. It is not an either or. It is an and. It is multiple truths. Another top priority is supporting our business community, especially in aiding their efforts to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. As a small business owner myself and working with businesses in the Twin Cities, I know firsthand the impact that this has had. I understand the questions to ask and the partnership and hard work that it's going to take to ensure that we can move forward together. This especially means supporting our historically underrepresented business owners so that we can build a strong, diverse, resilient business community. This pandemic has hit us hard, and it's going to take public-private partnerships from across our city and our state to come together to rebuild. Fighting for justice and equity for all is a priority, and it's a must. All people deserve justice and equity in our everyday lives. We must commit to addressing the systemic structural inequities that exist in our city. We are all called to learn about our history so that we can understand how we got to where we are today. It is in that knowledge that we can become models for the children in our community. They are our future police officers, firefighters, social workers, and teachers. Teaching and modeling equity today plants the seeds for our tomorrow. It is time that we partner with all members of our community and engage in conversation about how we can make the city a just and equitable place for all. Affordable housing is also a top priority because everyone deserves access to decent, safe, affordable housing. Our housing history has created deep racial disparities across our city. In the 11th Ward, the redlining that occurred forced many of our BIPOC families out. And it's imperative that we center justice and equity in our housing practices as we move forward. Access to homeownership is an important part of building wealth and creating strong communities. And building new and preserving existing affordable rental housing is a critical part of the housing continuum for our workforce and families at all income levels, but especially our lower income families. Furthermore, we must respond to homelessness as the public health crisis that it is. My experience as a member of the Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity Leadership Council has shown me how having a stable home changes lives and families forever. The City Council has a responsibility to all residents of Minneapolis to work to expand affordable housing opportunities, protect the rights of renters, and ensure justice and equity in our housing practices. For any of these efforts and visions to come to fruition, we need leaders who can think strategically, who are open to learning from experts, who will ask powerful questions, can listen, will partner to create lasting plans that will bring real results. I am committed to doing all of these. Building relationships and partnerships and truly listening is one of the most important ways I want to show up for you and every single one of our Ward 11 neighborhoods. Diamond Lake, Hale, Keewaydin, Page, Northrop, Tingletown, Winona, Wyndham, and a little sliver of field. We'll take it. And if we were in person, I would want to look each and every one of you in the eyes and tell you, I am here. I am committed to building your trust. I will listen, I will learn, I will lead with heart. It is because of my dedication to our community and the people in it that I am running for Minneapolis City Council of Ward 11. Our community wants to be seen and heard, and I am here to listen. Thank you for your time, and I truly hope we can connect soon. Oh, you're muted, Melissa.
Of course I am. Virtual technology. Well, I don't know about you guys, but it was absolutely fantastic hearing from Emily. If you can't tell, I think she's great, and I think she's going to make a great leader for Ward 11 and for Minneapolis in general. Right now, I am dropping a whole slew of links in the chat, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. We were so excited to have been able to launch Emily's campaign for Minneapolis City Council Ward 11 with each and every one of you here tonight. Now that you've heard from Emily, we need you to get involved, which is why I dropped those links in the chat. Whether it's signing up for our mailing list, following us on social media, checking out our website, or of course, donating to the campaign or volunteering, we welcome your help and support. This is a community-centered campaign, and we cannot do it without you guys. And can you just imagine if every person on this Zoom call donated $10, how much that would mean to this campaign? If every person in this Zoom call signed up to be a volunteer on the campaign or to get involved, how much of a difference that would make? My ask of each and every one of you tonight is that you go to our website and you check out the Get Involved page and you sign up to be a part of our campaign in whichever way you want. There's plenty of options. And you become a part of our team to make sure that we can help get Emily elected as our next City Council member for Ward 11. Thank you so much for being here tonight. All the links are in the chat. I'm sure you can find this all on your own too, but if you have any questions, I can also drop the email for the campaign in the chat as well. And thank you again for everyone for being here tonight. We maxed out at over 150 people on this Zoom call at once, and how absolutely incredible is that? So thank you, each and every one of you, for being here tonight. And one last thing before we sign off, and whoever doesn't want to participate can turn their cameras off, but what a better way to celebrate this than to get a screenshot of all of our support that we have at this event. So if everyone smiles, I'm going to take screenshots and scroll through the 6 pages I have on my Zoom screen. How incredible is that? So just keep smiling while I do this, because no one wants to have a non-smiley face for this. So smile. All right, 1 page down. And then another page. We're only halfway through, guys. How insane is that? Page 4. Page 5. And page 6. This is incredible, guys. I don't think I've ever been on a Zoom call with this many people, and that says a lot considering it's been a long time since we switched to virtual world. And so if I haven't been on one this big since, gosh, March of 2020, that says a lot. So again, thank you for everyone for being here tonight, and make sure to get involved with our campaign. You can sign up for basically everything on our website, and you can check us out a little bit more. But again, thank you so much for being here tonight. Bye, everyone.